Hey guys, Shane with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2019 GMC Acadia and I want to walk through how to install Roadmasters Diode Wiring Kit. What the Diode Wiring Kit does is it allows you to transfer your light signals from your RV to the back of your vehicle so that when you're flat towing everybody knows what you're doing, whether that's braking, turning, or driving at night. Diodes are going to fit or install to factory wiring behind each taillight. They're going to protect your factory wiring from any backfeed, whether it's from the vehicle to the camper or from the camper to the vehicle, vice versa. Nice thing about them is once they're installed, you don't have to do anything but plug your umbilical cord in from your RV to the front of your vehicle to give you those signals. Another nice thing about them is it's not going to affect the normal use of your vehicle. So when you're disconnected from your motorhome, you're driving your vehicle normal, it's going to allow you to maintain the normal functions of your lights. I recommend the diode kit. Again, once you install them, you don't have to do anything and you don't see anything. The other option is going to be magnetic lights. What those do is you put them on top of your roof, you run a wire up to the front to plug it into your RV. Keep in mind the wiring is going to be hanging out, so potentially could cause issues with scratches or something like that on your paint. And once you're done with them, you have to take them off and you have to find somewhere to store them. So my opinion, diode wiring kit is going to be the way to go. The diode wiring kit is going to be one of the 6 components required to flat tow your Acadia. The other 5 are going to be your base plate, your safety cables, your tow bar, your braking system, and a brake light switch. The installation process for the diodes is pretty simple and straightforward. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let's walk you through how to get it installed. To start your installation, if you've just installed your base plate, you have your fascia off, it's a good idea to install this now. If not, it may be easier if you take your fascia off to get your wires ran up front or ran to the back. Your wiring is going to come like this. It's going to have 2 plugs on it. These are designed for motorhomes that do not have wiring in the back for towing. What you would do if you don't have wiring, you're going to cut off one end about 3 foot. This one that you cut off is going to get wired to the motorhome. The other end is going to be mounted on the front of the vehicle. You'll take the cut end of the rest of this wiring, it's going to run to the back and tie into your taillights. You're going to have a tether, once you get it installed, that's going to go from your motorhome side to the front of the vehicle. We are actually going to be putting on a 6-pole plug, so we're not going to be using this, and we're just going to cut these 2 ends off. I've gone ahead and cut off the 2 ends. I've attached it with a zip tie right here to the 2 rods coming out of my base plate, because this is where my 6-pole plug is going to be installed. And how I ran my wire, there's no real definite way to run your wire from the front to the back. You just want to make sure that you're staying away from anything hot or moving. The way that I did it is I went around my base plate here, right through here. You'll notice how I kind of have a little loop here, because when I install the braking system, it's going to have to get tied into this wiring. So I want to be able to have access to it, or have enough wiring that I can make my connections. From here, I came right inside of my frame rail. There's a support rod. I went around that to keep it away from my engine. I ran it straight up along underneath my frame rail. You have a hard line here. Went over the top where it actually attaches into the frame there, just to hold it up away from anything down here. I put a zip tie in right up on the hard line up here, and just followed these hard lines all the way to the back, throwing a zip tie every once in a while onto it just to hold it tight. All the way back. On the outside of my fuel tank, again following the hard lines to get to the back axle. Went over top of this hard line, over top of my rear axle here. Right up here, there's another hard line. This moves, so you want to make sure you zip tie that line up so it's not hanging on top of this. Over top of this side, zip tie it here. And then we have our exhaust. Again, stay away from heat. The heat shield runs right up at the top. So what I did is ran my wire right over the top of it and came out here. Now, what you need to do is take your wires and split them apart. Green wire is going to stay down here. The other 3 white, yellow, and brown, we're going to take straight up to our tail light housing. To remove our light, you can take a screwdriver, trim panel tool. We're going to pop these two caps off. And we'll take a 7mm socket and remove the two bolts. We're going to take our light and we're going to pull straight back on it. Sometimes if you kind of wiggle it like that, it'll pop out. We're going to have a plug right here. If you kind of pop that off like that, there's a red tab. Pop that red tab up. You're going to push ground down on this gray tab and you're going to pull this little plug out. Like that. You're going to do the same thing on the other side of the vehicle. Next thing we need to do is we need to get our brown, yellow, and white wire up on our driver's side here. What I did is I took an airline tube, fed it down behind my fascia, taped my wires to the end of it, and now we can pull it back up. I would double check to make sure you're not caught on anything down on the bottom, you're not wrapped around your exhaust here. Now we've tested our wires and we determined that on our driver's side, our purple wire or violet wire with the white stripe is going to be our running light signal. Yellow wire with the blue stripe is going to be our brake and turn signal. Next, what we need to do is we need to split those wires so we can add on our diodes. I'm going to do one at a time so I don't lose my wires down in there. We'll strip back the ends. In your kit, you're going to have some blue spade connectors on your diodes. You're going to put a blue spade connector on the end of each one of those wires. These wires are pretty thin, so I'd suggest maybe doubling them over. That way you got a good connection. From there, we're going to take our brown wire, because that was our running light signal. We're going to cut it to length. Except this time, we're going to keep the extra brown that we cut off. We're going to strip back these two ends. On one of your diodes, you're going to have a yellow spade connector. You're going to put that on. We're going to take one of our diodes. Single side that has one prong is going to go out towards the plug. The other side, we're going to come in like this. Here. And we hook our running light into it. We'll do our brake and turn signal. Then we're going to cut our yellow wire from our kit. We're going to add on a regular spade connector. We'll take our diode. Again, single side goes out towards the plug. Once you plug that wire in, completes the circuit for your factory lights. And add on your yellow wire from your diode kit. You've now made it to where you can use your factory tail lights to run your signals from your RV. Now we'll take our brown wire that's added into our yellow connector, and we're going to feed it back down. It's going to run over to the passenger side with our green wire to give us our running light signal on that side. Now what I'm going to do is put in my ground wire. I'm going to cut my wire. Kit's going to come with a small ring terminal. We'll add on our ring terminal. I'm going to ground it right here. It's also going to come with a self-tapping screw. Okay. And we can take our diodes. It's going to get some sticky tape that's already on it. We need to, there's not a whole lot of room here to put them. I'm going to stick one here. And my other one, I'm going to stick just like that. We should be able to get our taillight back in place. Just like that. Go ahead and plug our light back in to our factory wiring. And then make sure you push the red tab. If you can get this back on to the light, do it. If not, you may have to leave that hanging off. We can go ahead and reinstall our bolts. To get my brown and green wire across to the passenger side, all I did is went up over top of the bumper beam and then pull it up the same way I did here on the driver's side with the airline tube. And then for our passenger side, our gray wire with the brown stripe is going to be our running lights. Brown wire with the green stripe is going to be our brake and turn signal. We're going to make our connection here like we did on the driver's side. The only difference is going to be we're going to have one single brown wire for our running lights instead of two doubled up. Once you've made all your connections, go ahead and reattach your tail light, install it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 6-pole plug and just kind of wire it on there just to test everything out to make sure it's working correctly. Then I'll take that back off before I put my fascia on. Now this particular diode kit is not going to come with the 6-pole plug. You can find them here at eTrailer. On the back of them, they're going to be marked for what wire does what. TM is going to be running light signal, GD is ground, LT is left turn, RT is right turn. It's also going to come with a rubber boot. Again, I'm just putting this on just to test out my wiring to make sure everything's working correctly. Once I put my fascia on, this boot is actually going to go on first, like this. I'll attach my wires, and then that boot slides over the top of this to protect those connections. Green is going to be our right turn. These are little bitty screws on here. I suggest using a flathead. Philip seems to strip out a little bit, and you don't need to take them all the way out. Yellow is going to be our right turn. White is going to be our ground, and brown is going to be our running lights. Now we've hooked up to an alternate power source. This is going to simulate being hooked up to your RV. Tail lights, left turn, brake lights, right turn. Once you're done with that, you're ready to go. That's going to do it for a look at an installation on the Roadmasters Diode Wiring Kit on our 2019 GMC Acadia.